Hey there everyone, Justin here from Brickhouse Gym. Gonna do a little demonstration today on the Prime leg press machine. I'm gonna use this machine as an example, mostly to showcase all of the Prime equipment, but try to make sense of it for you in how Prime operates with its smart strength technology here on the cam system. So basically, I'm gonna try to keep it simple so that it's easy to understand, but also make sure that you understand how to use it for your goals. So the first thing to know on a leg press like this is it has the adjustable cam section here, numbered number 1 through 5. Mostly we're going to be talking about the 1, the 2, and the 3. The number 1 is basically your average setting. Average just meaning that in the middle of the range is where it's going to be the hardest. It's going to feel pretty natural throughout, like pretty much a standard leg press. So I'm just going to get into position so I can kind of demonstrate it here. Currently I have it set with 200 pounds, so, and I'll explain that in a second on how that works. So right now, 200 pounds, pretty smooth throughout. So normally one thing that most people will relate with is that in a squat or a leg press position, when your legs are fully extended like this, it's pretty easy to hold the weight there. But down here when you're squatting, this is where the most of the tension sits, okay? Everybody's got that. Easy at the top, hard at the bottom. So what we can do with the Prime, because of the smart strength, is we can actually switch it to a different number. So number 3. Number 3 is your beginning range position. Number 3 actually puts even more pressure on the knees out of the hole. And the advantage to that is it's a very athletic setting. It's where you're going to create a lot of power, strength, and explosiveness. So if you're somebody that's an athlete or somebody that's trying to build a lot of metabolic heat from your body, training on the 3 is going to be ideal. So super hard at the bottom and then rather explosive at the top. So it's also a lot easier to hold it up here, but it gets super hard at the bottom. By the numbers, I have this weight set at 200 pounds. So when you have it on the number 3 setting, it's about a 30-pound variance. So at the top like this, it's not 200 pounds. It's technically about 140. But out of the bottom, there, it's 200 pounds and it is rather heavy. But again, super explosive at the top. It is a great setting if you're doing a body transformation. Absolutely use that setting. If you're somebody that's in sports, needs to jump, needs to sprint, use the number 3. Now let's go to the number 2 setting. Number 2 setting, end range setting, also known as peak contraction. The peak contraction is where it's actually the reverse of the number 3. So peak contraction, lots easier at the bottom. I can get it out of the hole a lot easier, and then it ramps up to the 200 pounds. So at the top here, it's gonna be the full 200 pounds. Out of the bottom here, the weight's gonna ease off and it's only 140. So it's pretty easy on the knees down here, but ramps up to be super heavy up here. So another way to look at this is that when your joints are stacked like this, it is rather easy to hold any weight. So whether you're using leg press or any other upper body movements or anything that's Prime, whenever joints are stacked is when everything gets easier. So I can still hold it up here pretty good, but the weight shifts a lot. So somebody that should use this setting is somebody with either bad knees or somebody that's trying to put on as much muscle mass as possible. Peak contraction is proven to be able to put on a lot more muscle mass than a beginning range movement. So for me, trying to build a lot of quads, I love training on the number 2. It's a lot smoother. It's easy on the knees out of the hole, but now also this 200 pounds feels rather easy. So what I can do, so let's give that a go. So out of the hole, the 300 pounds feels like 210 at the bottom, but it's 300 at the top. So that's a big jump for me to go from 200 to 300 pounds and still be able to do it relatively easy on the knees out of the hole, but now I'm getting maximum peak contraction at the top. Again, anybody here at Brickhouse or any gym that has Prime equipment, the number 2 is going to be your sweet spot for muscle gain. It's very targeted, it's very direct. I like to say that whenever you're working towards a goal, you want to be specific. Specific is terrific. So training on number 1 is not specific, very in the middle of the road. So for me, muscle gain, priority, number 2, peak contraction, and it's just phenomenal. So this 300 pounds feels amazing, good burn. It still holds a ton of weight. You know, I could do this for a number of reps. So some people say, you know, heavy training is key. Yes, it is. But heavy training when the joints are in a compromised position where your knees are bent is going to be hard on the knees. So we need to take the pressure off where our weak points are and focus on building that peak contraction. So you can even go higher. Let's put this guy up to, let's put this to 400 pounds. So I struggled at 200 pounds on the number 3, which is the start range, which is really only good for, again, explosiveness or sports. It's not going to get me the muscle gain I want. But now I have it on the number 2 setting. I have it on 400 pounds. Let's give this a go. So on this one, out of the hole, it's 280 pounds. And at the top, man, 400 pounds. Boom. 280, 400. These quads are loving 400 pounds. Boom. So good. So that's the secret behind Prime. The number 2 setting, it's gonna let you move a lot more weight, move the peak contractions, get the volume you need. And again, if you have any desire to build more muscle mass, you need to try the Prime Smart Strength stuff and try them on the number 2 peak contraction settings. Here at Brick, we have 21 machines here that do peak contraction, and it's gonna be super great for all the gains you need. Another way to compare it is when you're squatting. Just a quick demo. When you're squatting, you can hold as much weight as you want at the top. But as you go lower, that's when the knees are gonna buckle. So reverse that, technically reverse gravity with the Prime, give it a go, and build those muscle gains. Thanks, guys.